Welcome to the Awakening Podcast. You can find all our episodes on awakeningpodcast.org. We're also on BitChute. And some of them, when we don't talk about dodgy topics, go on YouTube. I think we'd be okay today. And I'm a podcast coach. I've got 4 other podcasts: meditation, learn Polish, crypto, and speaking. And you find everything on bio.link/podcaster. My guest, all the way in beautiful Australia. Please welcome Shea Fox.
How are you, Roy?
I'm very well. I'm very well. So you might let the listeners know who's Shea.
Hi, guys. I'm Shea. I'm a mindset and training nutrition coach from Australia, and we help people struggling with, their addictions, their vices, and just to build a better life for themselves. And that's what we do over here.
Excellent. So I know it all kind of delved from your own journey. So you might kind of just go back a few layers and your own kind of journey into your own kind of problems.
For sure, yeah. Well, a lot of my personal development journey started when I was quite young. I had a bit of a banging around, so to speak, with my upbringing, with my mother, with my father, and then I was in foster care. So I was sent around from all these different families. So I had to learn to cope by myself. And then fast forward 15 years, and had to kind of attend that kind of personal development that I developed when I was 13, and I'd almost forgotten about it. And then as I got older, and I kind of ran into some issues again. I had a nightclub. I was DJing, got a bit too heavy into the partying, and then went down the drugs, got in trouble with the police, and I was at rock bottom. My girlfriend left me at the time, and then I was just struggling financially. So I had to turn inwards. I had to all of a sudden look at myself and go, like, how did I get here? How the bloody hell did I get here? And that just started me on this journey. And I kind of just went, I gotta share this with people. I gotta help people what I found down there, because like the way I was feeling, I had never felt the crushing weight of it before. And I think it was because it was the accumulation of everything with the club, with the police, and with the girlfriend. It was just one thing after another. And the only way I could feel good was just to work out and feel and work on myself. And so that was really what saved me. And it was really one of those dark times where I thought, I thought I was stronger than that. It would never happen to me. And I was the one person it did happen to. So I want to make sure no one else falls into that trap. And if anyone else is struggling with it, that I'm here to help.
Okay, excellent. And with kind of, going to foster care, because I know how difficult that, what age were you? And were you going to different families, or was it just one foster family?
Yeah, no, I was about 10 different foster families, about the same amount of different schools, like, just banging around. And I ended up going back to my nana and granddad's. They came and they found out I was in foster care, and they're like, we're not having that. But then that was another school I had to go to. So yeah, I was about 7 till 13 in foster care. So yeah, it was quite some time.
No, that's difficult. And because like I kind of look at, because I know that you wrote about your father being abusive, and like I tried to go back a few layers, because sometimes we don't know the journey. Like, do you know the journey of both your parents? What actually could have triggered them to be not giving kind of full attention to yourself?
Well, I think for me, from my understanding, is that I was just a little bit of a little bit of a shit of a kid, but I was getting beaten up at home. I was getting, my dad was beating me up, so I was beating up the kids in school. You know what I mean? And my mum wasn't there. She left because I think she was getting beaten up a little bit as well. So it was just, I think, the relationship there was never father and son, and yeah, so I never really had that safety, I guess, of having a father figure in my life.
And
yeah,
you mentioned, so many times gone wrong, like going to different school. That must have been very traumatic, because
yeah,
trying to meet friends, and then you probably triggering yourself after it happening 3 times. What's the point in kind of connecting with people? I
yeah,
just wondering what was going on in your head. Can you remember how you
yeah,
were
yeah.
feeling?
I definitely like you'd make all these wonderful friends, and you'd be so excited. You just met this new person, you really click in. You're going and going over their houses, playing games, this all this and that. But and then you just uprooted. You just pulled out of that situation, and you're off to another family. Like it's really difficult. So I learned at a young age just to kind of deal with things myself, and I did rely heavily on my friends as kind of because I didn't have much of a family, and so yeah, kind of. And then after I moved on from different families, I had to just rely on myself.
And were they moving you very far? Like, were you just in one state, or were they actually
A lot of it, no, a lot of it was around like the same kind of area. So like Gold Coast, or it would be up to the Sunshine Coast, or I can't remember the exact names of all the places, but it was around that area. So, this was before cell phones, mobile phones, I guess. So from what I remember, yeah. So I couldn't just call my friends up.
And are they doing that same kind of thing now? Because I mean, if you're looking to help somebody, you should try to give them stability and have a
Mm,
family. I mean, obviously they have to make sure that everybody connects and you actually like the people and vice versa. But
mm,
to just constantly move a child, and I know this goes on around
mm.
the world. It's not just applicable to Australia, but
Yeah.
it's the wrong way to do it.
Well, I think, I wasn't the perfect kid, and obviously, you're not things aren't going on well with you. You're not behaving very well. So I could imagine if these families are kind of looking to help, they want to get a good kid. So they want to get almost like they're adopting a kid. So they want the good one. So if they get one that's not exactly the best for them, or that's not in line with their values, they'll just trade it in. So that's what I kind of think it is. But I haven't revisited that haven't looked into foster care or anything like that and what they're actually still doing. So I wouldn't know if they're still doing that. But yeah, it's pretty difficult, I think, for kids. It definitely was for me.
Okay. And like with the nightclub then, because you kind of said you went down the kind of wrong road with that, like how did that kind of happen? Was it something that just kind of happened over, or was it the
No,
success got to your head and the money started coming in and you went,
yeah,
hey?
yeah. It was kind of but the journey started just from DJing. I was DJing everywhere. I was going up and down the coast of Australia, just playing at all these different venues. I started meeting a whole bunch of wild DJs as well, and everyone wanted to know me. And I was like, "This is awesome! I get to party, I get to make money. This is amazing. I get to do my passion." And then I kind of got sick of the traveling around so much, and I was like, "Look, I'm just gonna play in one club." And that was actually the club I bought. Was the one club I started playing out in Noosa for the longest time. And so there was just an opening. I was fortunate that the people that owned it were selling at the time. This was probably about 2 years after I was DJing there, and they wanted to sell, and I got the inside hook on that. So yeah, it was just very fortunate, and so I got to be a minority shareholder in the nightclub. And then after I bought the nightclub, it was kind of like, you know, all bets are up. I just could do whatever I wanted. I was just, we were just having the best time. Like as you would, you'd just be all of a sudden you're 26 and you own a nightclub. It's like, what the hell? What the hell's going on? Yeah. So it was a really interesting time, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And I didn't waste the opportunity, but looking back, I wasted it. So at the time, I felt like I wasn't wasting it because I was taking advantage of it. But when you look back at it again, I wasted it 100% because then all the police came and there was drugs involved. And, the police know everything that's going on. If you think you're smart and getting away with stuff, no, they know so much. So yeah, that was kind of the journey.
And because we were talking prior to recording about both of us kind of like to wake up naturally, and we're kind of early to bed, early rise kind of thing. But when you're doing the nightclub, it kind of goes against your time clock because you're kind of, I don't know what time you'd start, 10 o'clock, but sometimes they go on till 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning,
Yeah.
and your whole rhythm is thrown out, which in turn I think kind of affects everything in your life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was quite young with it, so I was 26. I was able to adapt to it, but you would be waking up at 11 a.m., going to bed at 4, 5 a.m. Like if I was in bed by 4 a.m., that was a good, I'd done well. I hadn't gone and partied, hadn't drunk too much, hadn't done anything else, put anything else up my nose. So I'd done pretty well. But yeah, it was definitely definitely got worse and worse as I was in that situation longer, as I had the nightclub longer. Just the parties got longer, and the excuses came up more and more why it was okay to party tonight, why it was okay to do what I was doing. And then it's just every night because you're there, you're at the party. Everyone wants to get in and see who you are and do drugs with you pretty much, So
And like when, say, the police came in and you realized, yeah, doing drugs and the whole lot, and you made the transition, like, was it something that was kind of told, yeah, you need to clean yourself up, or was it a self realization, hey, I'm going down the wrong track, I need to get myself sorted?
yeah, so I was literally staring at the cold brick floors in the lockup, just going, how the bloody hell did I knew this was coming. I knew that what I was doing was not in line with my conscience. I knew what I was doing wasn't right, and I was just continuing to do it anyway. To this day, I think I wanted to get caught. I honestly think I did. I think honestly, I think I did want to get caught, and it was until I was in that cell that I realized that this is on me, and I got to change it. I got myself in this mess, and I got to get myself out of it. And yeah, that was the beginning.
What was the transit? Like, what was the kind of steps that you took to kind of get where you are today?
The steps that I took was the biggest humbling of my life. I had to I had to sell out of my business. I had to sell out of the nightclub. I had to sell the car I had at the time. I didn't even have another car. I had to move back into a garage. Like, it was just this spiral down of just humbling, like just to cut away the excess that I had so I could deal with the situation that I was going through. Paying for the lawyers, going through it with my girlfriend, supporting her. And then, I had a bunch of mechanical issues with my cars, and it was just one thing after another. So I felt like I was spiraling down. But how I built myself out of it was through my training, was through my exercise. Like, I got to such a point where I had this crushing feeling. It was almost like an anchor just tying me to the floor, and I couldn't get rid of it. The only way I could kind of get rid of it was cold showers and a workout. And so those cold showers and those workouts were what gave me a little bit of relief. And then it was just journaling. I was writing every evening, writing what I wanted, who I wanted to be, started reading, started reflecting, just stopped, cut out all the noise that was going on my phone, all the noise that was going on around me, the people that were hanging out, all like the little, blips of people just trying to like get into my life, or trying to, hey, what are you doing? Or you want to go out and do this and that, like just cutting all that off. And it was peaceful for once. It was all of a sudden I was doing my own thing, and I had a vision, and I had a bit sense of alignment. So yeah.
And with the coaching, then how did that all come about?
Well, so the way it changed my life through training, through the nutrition that I had to use to sustain my training, just so I could feel good. Like, I was one of those people that thought it would never happen to them. So as soon as it started happening, as it happened to me, I was like, okay, this shit's real. And like this, I'm talking about suicide here. I'm talking about, just depression and things like that. I thought it was all fake and yada yada. But what saved me was the workouts. What saved me was talking to someone, and what saved me was actually journaling. So the transition was, I'd always been one of those people that was sensitive, and I like to talk to others, and I like to help others. And so it kind of, as I got those little keys that helped me when I was actually down there, I kind of structured that into a program, and I was like, look, this is going to help people because it helped me. And so I just share that. And just see what people need and help them the best I can. And it works. It really works.
And with the journal, and I'm just curious because it's from one of the podcasters that I listen to, Blind Boys. His name, he wears a plastic bag because he doesn't want anybody to know who he is. But I could see he was kind of, over the lockdown period, kind of really down in the dumps, and you could see it coming out in the thing. And I'm just wondering, as you started journaling and kind of progressed, did you ever look back on what you had written and see your mood and how your thought process was kind of a year back?
Yeah, so my thing wasn't even journaling. Mine wasn't journaling. Mine was goals. Mine was setting things that I wanted, things that I needed to get done, things that was what had to be done to get myself out of that. It wasn't so much journaling. I've started journaling a little bit more now because I think I've never really done journaling, but the reflection on the goals and what I wanted at that stage, definitely. Like, I'm still making the goals large enough so they're unobtainable, not in the near future, but yeah, just looking back, I would write them as if they were lines. I would just continually write them over and over again, like the same kind of paragraph of lines. It wasn't even like a journaling. It was like just a programming of your brain of what you wanted and cutting everything else out.
Brilliant. So, like, with like coaching, helping other people now, is it kind of face to face you're doing stuff, or are you mainly online where you're doing most?
Yeah, we do face to face as well. So I've got a couple of clients in the gym that I'm at, and then it's online as well. And so it's just over Zoom, just like you and I are now. And yeah, it's really good. We do a 1 hour call every week. just to touch base, just whatever they're struggling with. We do reflection, and then I write their training and nutrition programs, whatever they need, and we just really work together and connect with that other person. And it's really good to see people go from, point A where they were to where they are now, and it's just to see them realize that, hey, this is actually working. It's great.
Yeah, brilliant. And just for those that may be listening, on your Instagram, you've got that kind of perfect body, the six pack and the muscles. Is that something that you need to do 6 hours a day, or can you actually compress
No. You would have better results. You would have better results if you did less than what I do. What I do, like I said, is merely to feel good, and then I do like little micro workouts just to get myself elevated. Because with my thinking and with my mindset, I find that when I drop to a low frequency state, I have to elevate. And that's where the workout comes in. That's where getting your heart rate up lifts you up to that higher frequency. And, it's something that I've really observed as key to maintaining that mental clarity. And so for me, that's how I do that. But with the body, you can get it with proper macros and 3 to 4 days a week training. That's it.
Brilliant. And because like a lot of times when people, go through different issues, if they go to a psychologist or a doctor, unfortunately, a lot of the time they just prescribe, depression tablets. And I mean, I've been researching that lately, and it's like the whole lot is a farce. Even the FDA, all the figures that we're giving is all a lie. And like the placebo, people get it. But not once will a doctor say, hey, go out in the sun. Hey, go away, do exercise, about nutrition. Because they're not getting kickbacks and everything. So I presume like people are probably shocked. I mean, you're obviously seeing results as you're taking them through the journey, but there must be such a feel-good factor for yourself as well when you kind of know how you're helping. But like, how do you feel about the whole industry, the way that they, when people aren't getting the right information?
Well, I try, if someone ever tells me that, I say, you're putting it all on a pill. That's your result. That's what you're putting your trust in, is just a little pill. That's what you need to be happy. Like, people will not find happiness in the same place they've lost it. And I mean, you can say antidepressants work, this and that, they might get you started, but at the end of the day, you've got to let your body take over. You need to let your body take over naturally. You can't just be supplementing, feeling good. It's like, it's crazy.
And what startled me is the side effect of these tablets is suicidal tendencies. It's, so it actually does the worst. Like it does worse for people.
I think there was also something, I was listening to a podcast, Jordan Peterson was talking, and he said Joe Rogan was talking with Jordan Peterson. And he said the people that are prescribed antidepressants turn into alcoholics, like almost 90% of them. Like that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's, I mean, because I love listening to Joe Rogan as well, and I've heard with the Jordan Peterson, very good interview. But like when you listen to even a lot of guests that come on his show, but from what we see, the amount of people having opioid problems and drug problems and everything in America. But I mean, I know it's international, but there it seems to be massive. But like when you've got people coming in, and the reason I'm saying this is because not everybody can afford a coach and not everybody can go down that route. And just if they're in the wrong place, that like, what's the best kind of route to be taking to try to,
to get off it?
Yeah.
You've got to change the structure. You've got to change the underlining structure. So I put it simply, like if there's ice cream in the fridge, and you want to stop eating ice cream, you've got to change the structure. So you've got to get rid of the ice cream. That's the structure. Or at least replace the ice cream with something like YoPro or something that is a healthier option or an alternative to get you started. So I would say the same thing with your drugs and your alcohol. But you've got to remove yourself out of the situations where people drink, like immediately. Remove yourself out of the places where people do drugs. Like you're going to find yourself, as soon as you realize the power of your thoughts and your habits, and you will just not go to certain places because you understand the people you're going to meet there. That was my biggest thing, was getting away from the bullshit, cutting the bullshit out, and just being with myself and learning that, you don't need the drugs to have a good time. You don't need the alcohol to have a good time. You don't need that to feel good.
And because I had a lady on the podcast a couple of months back, and she was on about grey drinking, which is kind of where people, they're kind of having the few glasses every night, but then it's like continuous. And just like, I'd love to know your thoughts on that, because it was something that I was conscious of myself, and then I just said, whoa, and went off it for 3 months and just said, hey, what's going on here? Like, and
Yeah.
sometimes people, because they're not getting drunk, and they're not going clubbing, but if you think it's your kind of, oh, I need this because I've had a hard day, I think that's a rabbit hole we shouldn't be going down either.
Yeah. Look, I think so there's this trainer called BioLean, and he mentions that there's no scientific effects or results in lowering your testosterone from drinking, and there's actually lifts your testosterone from drinking just a little bit. So I think it's a gateway. It's a gateway thing. If you have to be the person that says, I just need to have a drink to relax and wind down, like, what's wrong with a book? Why does it have to be a drink? What's wrong with, for my clients, I say cut it off, cut off the drugs, cut off the alcohol, 100%. I know people can get sick if they're actually alcoholics and things like that, so you got to wean them off it. But in terms of drugs and alcohol, I don't want any of my clients on it, and I give them my personal number, my personal mobile number, and I say, if you ever fucking think about doing drugs or alcohol again, give me a call straight away. I don't care whatever time it is, I'll pick it up. And I'll stand between you and your bad habits and the things, looking for happiness in the same place you lost it, whether you think you deserve it or not, because it's poison, and it gets carried away, and we get carried away easily.
Yeah. And I mean, you've obviously seen from kind of owning a nightclub how some people change. I mean, I've seen, it didn't affect me in that way, but I've seen some people, they're lovely people, and after a few drinks, they're like, there's like a demon comes out of them. They're just totally different person.
Yeah.
And when you witness that, it's like when you go somewhere, if you're going out to club and you're just not drinking, and you're seeing how people are actually behaving, it tends to make, I kind of encourage everybody to do that. Go out to a place where there's a lot of people getting drunk, and when you see it, you kind of go, I'm actually like that when I'm, I don't mean the aggressive type, but just kind of acting stupid as well. Like,
yeah. And watch it lift, watch it go from, in the club, I used to see it all the time. You just watch someone completely normal like this, they're engaged in the conversation, and then you just watch them progress throughout the night and just drunk, and then all of a sudden they're the ones that are losing their shoes on the dance floor, like they're all sloppy, they're drinking their friends' drinks, just all fucked, and they're all the loud one in the room. And it's like, like, if you need that, sure, but I don't think anyone needs that. I don't think anyone's woken up after a night out with more money and more friends. They might have woken up with more fake friends, but yeah.
And I think society, I mean, it used to be kind of different, kind of in my day. It was kind of, I don't know, going up, but I find that some people are living their week to just do the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever they can afford, or what. And it's like Groundhog Day, and then they're losing a day, because if you're out in the Raz for a heavy night, your whole next day is useless. I mean, obviously you've seen it now. When you're productive, you're making your list, you're getting stuff done, and you just love that. You get more energy from that, and you just a feel good factor. Whereas when you're doing that, it's like, and then they just repeat it. It's like a cycle that they think that's life, and it's probably the wrong spiral to be going down.
I say bring that pre-Saturday night energy to your Monday morning. Honestly, like, bring that excitement, bring that, hit it with everything you've got. Let's, let's get everyone around. Let's get this shit done. That's what you want on a Monday morning. Less the alcohol,
that's
obviously.
when 90% of people realize they need to change their jobs, because there's a lot of people hate what they're doing.
Yeah. And I'm like, you got to have that. You got to have something that's more important, that gives you the strength to say no to your friends. You don't need to be a dick about it, but they also don't need to be a dick about, why aren't you drinking this and that? And if they are, tell them to get fucked. If you want to try and bring me down to your level, get out of here. Like, honestly, that's not a friend. And I mean, for me, it was easier for me, because when everything happened with the club, I really found out who was my friends. And there was maybe two friends, one really close friend, two friends that stuck with me through the whole thing. So, and that just says a lot. And that says more than anything. Everyone's around when the party's there, but when the party stops, they're all gone.
And like, just with your kind of clients, have you found, because I found that when you have a mission bigger than yourself, kind of to help others and just kind of make an impact in the world, which you're obviously doing as well. I know you're kind of, you can see someone completely changing their life and going from going down to like having a fantastic life. Like, do you find that when somebody has not just chugging through life, but when they have a mission bigger than themselves, that then they stop thinking about the doom and gloom?
Yeah, definitely. They've got no time for it. You've got to make it so you don't have time for it. Like, this is the thing. You're not gonna, if you don't have time to sit and think about your problems, that doesn't mean they're not there, but you've got things that are better that you're pursuing. Like, you don't need to, you don't need to worry about them. There's so much.
Yeah. And with the nutrition then, because that's another kind of, I mean, they were pushing all these different things, the triangle food with the, bread and milk. And it turns out every single thing they failed us to take was actually worse and just full of antibiotics and hormones and all this kind of stuff. And I remember even when I was younger, I was like, oh, take margarine, butter's bad for you. Then it turns out margarine is bad, and then aspartame was banned, and then it becomes this normal. Microwaves are banned in Russia, and then it's not. It's like the problem is most people, they're bamboozled. It's like, what's actually good for me? And it's like, I suppose, well, what's your advice? I mean, obviously, you've kind of studied that and you know it a lot better than most people.
Well, you need to focus your calories. It's your calories in to calories out. So if you're in a calorie surplus, you're going to put on weight. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. Now, ideally, you want to be tracking your macros, the macronutrients in those calories. That's your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. So that's what we put our clients on is an optimum protein to carbohydrate fat ratio. And that gives you the fat loss and keeps you in the optimum strength gaining as well. So you put on lean muscle in a way.
Okay. And with kind of say your clients then, it's whether it's face-to-face or whatever, what's the best way of kind of, because sometimes people that kind of may do these things, or it might be the police saying, hey, you have to do this or you're going to spend time, or parents will throw them out or something like that when they're not connected themselves. Because sometimes, like, you made a choice and you were staring the floor in the prison cell, and that's when it happened with you. And sometimes that happens a bit, but there's other times they don't have that kind of, I suppose we call it the Jesus moment. When if you've got somebody like that, what's kind of the best way to kind of get them to kind of self-actualization that, it's within I'm the problem? Huh?
Well, think of when you're talking to your grandkids. What are they going to talk about their grandfather? What stories are you going to tell your grandkids? Are they going to be proud of what you did? Are you going to be this person that's overweight that can't even play with them? Like, you've got to look at these choices. Would they be proud of you going out every weekend? That's your big story. Like, that's what I use. And I say to people, you don't understand the potential that you have. What is laying dormant inside of you that you actually can use to improve your life, and it's just there waiting dormant. Like, what would your kids think? What would your spouse think? How much better would your life be? That's what I say.
And with your own kind of journey as well, because sometimes people have the kind of, how would you know? I've had this kind of life, or this has happened to me. And I think once you kind of have your own story as well of a hard life, and then kind of what happened in the club, it's kind of, then they can't use that card, because people use that card as well. Like, they
do. People, of course, they want to say it because they want to give themselves the excuse that they know better, or that they don't need to change, and more importantly, it won't happen to them. That's the biggest thing. The one person that says it won't happen to them, they're the one person it's going to happen to. That's just how it'll happen.
Yeah. So you do business coaching as well?
Yeah, but I don't want to get into that. I don't want to talk about that in this one. We'll just keep this for the mindset training nutrition. The business is kind of side hustles. We kind of just help people to build up side hustles, which is what helped me, which it wasn't so much a side hustle, but it's service-based. So it's still actually engaging with people and going out and just building a product or a service, something that people need, and going and helping people. Not like online drop shipping, none of that shit. Going out and, starting a cleaning business or a cooking business or some sort of, product, you sell windows or something like that. But just to get you started, that there is other ways of making money than all these fads that people are trying to sell you online, or crypto or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about crypto,
but I mean, there was and that's why he set that up, because there's so much fraud in that field. But I mean, I suppose that in itself is a kind of connection, because there's a lot of people, when they lose everything, they actually need to get something, because there's not always the parent or the grandparent or somebody that has a wallet that can get them sorted. And, they need to find something like selling the windows or multi-level marketing or something that can just get them out there. And also, because there's the connection side as well, because I don't think people realize that, because sometimes people are getting depressed because they're kind of in their own little bubble. And sometimes they're not getting out of their house and they're just kind of chugging away. But when they get into, like, say, the business, they're going around meeting people. And that in itself is actually got a feel-good factor, because especially in the last 3 years, people are staying at home, and then they got comfortable with that. And then they're like, they don't want to really go out and meet people. And it's like, before, it used to be the tribes having the conversation and everything. And now that's kind of gone. And by having some sort of kind of thing to bring in a bit of money to cover your...
Well, the feeling useful, I think, even these days, like, if I'm not doing something, if I'm not engaging or talking with people, like, shit, I've got a cleaning business that I do on the side as well, and that's run for me. I've got people that work for me doing that. But for me, sometimes I'm like, hell, I'm just going to go do some cleaning, and I just go work on the business, because it gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning, and it's you're valuable. And I think that's what that's what I felt that I wasn't valuable and I wasn't contributing in some way. And then as soon as I found out a way I could contribute, I was like, shit, I had to show people this. Like, you can do it too. I did it. You can do it too. Like,
And like, because that's one thing all through my life would say, even with clean, some people, I judge them by how they actually treat a cleaner. Because for me, if I'm talking to a billionaire or a cleaner, I'll treat them the exact same. And I think people don't realize how hard cleaning is. It's actually a very labor intensive work. But even if you're doing it yourself, because I used to have somebody cleaning the house because I was doing so many different things. And then I started doing it myself because she got ill. And it's like, I don't hate it anymore, because I kind of had that. I put that into my health, and there's and I get my son, my youngest child, he's 9. I get him to go around and do the cleaning as well. And I think even doing things like that, if you look at it as a chore and, oh Jesus, I have to clean my house.
Yeah.
You use it as an exercise. I mean, you're basically working hard for 1 or 2 hours. I'd say that's my training for the day. And, and it's just changing your mindset, because if you go in, I have to clean, you're putting yourself down. You have a negative thought. And depending on whatever you're doing, like cooking, I love cooking, but I know there's some people that hate cooking, driving. I don't have a problem if listening to a podcast. I'm always doing something in the car instead of getting aggressive. But if you have a thought process and you trigger, so the mindset on everything is kind of the most important.
Well, you flip it and you go, I got an opportunity to, like, help someone's day. Like, you're doing. So for me, it was an Airbnb clean. This one Airbnb I do all the time. And I would always look at it as like, hey, I'm going to put my own swing on this. I'm going to, fold the towels this way, but it's going to, I'm going to make sure everything's perfect on my end so that the person who comes in here is going to have that perfect experience. And it's like that extra step above that silent hero almost, just someone that's just doing it anyway. Like, more of that. And it's easy to be like that. It's just not half-assing it. It's not thinking the poor me, I'm just trying to get in and get out. And I think that will set you apart in business.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering, because what I kind of do is, I call it Kaizen. It's like kind of organize everything. So I've done it with my clothes, or I think it was Mary Carey or someone that was done this. So I started doing my clothes that way, and I said, oh, brilliant. No, my clothes are fantastic since I started doing that. But I find that things get kind of, a bit messed up and stuff like that. But I said, okay, I'm going to basically set aside, I'm going doing the kitchen, and the kitchen is in everything. The tea, it's not just tea is just bundled in there. It's in a really beautiful, and the same with each room. And it's not the whole house isn't done, but just from this year. And I think that, like, a clear environment is a clear mind as well, because sometimes you're looking at clutter and it just clutters your brain.
100%. I agree. Jordan Peterson says the best. He says, clean up your room. He says, clean up your room. I love it. And it's true. I'm one of those people, I won't even leave one single dish in the sink. I will clean it as soon as I'm finished. Like, I don't even sit down to eat until I've cleaned up all the pots and pans that I've been cooking with. Like, I've just got my bowl, but I've already done the washing up. Like, I'm not anal like that, but I think it's good process. You know, you've got your steps of things that you do, brushing your teeth, flossing, you know, you do them, they're non-negotiables, and you've got times you do them. So that structure is important for me. And I think that structure is important for a lot of people like yourself with keeping your house clean. You know, you don't have to think about as much. You know, everything's organized.
Yeah, and like with the pots, that's something I used to always do, because I've realized that when you're cleaning the pots as you're going along, it just comes off straight away. But if you kind of let it settle to the next day, you're spending
Yeah.
too much time scrubbing it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
And
there's
people,
there's the advantages. So I suppose, like, just kind of finally, for those that can't get the coach, and you know they're going through the problem. I mean, both the nutrition and the health, what kind of advice would you give them to just kind of make that little shift? Because I think once you have the shift, it shows a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and then you can kind of, rather than going cold turkey on things.
the moment, okay, the best piece of advice, the moment you start feeling negative in any way, I wanted you to do this as a little exercise, little thought exercise. As soon as you start feeling negative or a bit lost, you're not sure what to do, I want you to hit a quick 50, 150 push-ups or burpees, whatever it may be. See how you feel and how you're thinking after you do that. That's what I would say for the training. And then I would say with the food, I mean, you've got to know what you're doing with the food, because, okay, with the food, I would say focus on your proteins, which is your steak, potato, like steak, fish, eggs, and, you know, your fish. I think I said that already, chicken, fish, and then go for your potatoes, you know, potatoes and greens, you know, and then just a little bit of fruit. That's what I would say. But you need to know your calories. And I would say stay away from your sodas. Like, just stay away from that. Like, there's so many calories in Coke, in Sprite, and all that. So if you just swap that out for water, you'll be a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
no chips.
No, exactly. But unfortunately, you know, people go through that. It's kind of like when they're feeling down, they reach for these things. But there's an app here. I don't know, can you get because it's in Polish, but I don't know, is there something similar around the world? But it's basically you scan and it tells you all the nutrition on it. So you know, and it tells, and you're looking at stuff. And sometimes you see stuff as saying natural this and natural that, and it's all a scam. And I think when you can't read what's on the label, or there's so many different ingredients, you stay away. It's like, stick to, as you say, chicken, but try to get the organic if you can. If you can't, I mean, obviously we know the value of it, but just stick to just one ingredient types instead of processed food, because when you get the processed food, it's got MSG, it's got all the toxins, which in turn goes into your brain, and you're wondering why you're feeling sluggish, and you're not jumping out of bed.
Yeah. If your grandparents wouldn't recognize it as food, don't eat it. Simple. If it comes in a package, don't eat it. Like, I mean, and you know, I'm not saying you can't enjoy the things that you want. For sure, everyone, you know, we're not. I sometimes eat chocolate, and we're human. That's fine. But it's about knowing. You've got to track it. You've got to know what you're putting in your mouth, and otherwise you just won't know, and you'll be overeating in certain areas. You won't actually realize what is being the most detrimental in your diet, and it's probably not what you think it is. You know.
And just with the chocolate, because I'm the type that it's one of my kind of things. I don't know, if you give me 3 bars of normal kind of chocolate, I'll eat the 3 bars and then I'll just crank. But what I started doing, one, I don't buy it. You know, it's like you mentioned that earlier, don't have it. But what I do is I get 85% chocolate, and I just take, when I feel like it, sometimes I could go a week without one. I'll take 2 or 3 squares. It gives me that thing that I need, and I'm grand. So, you know, just having the high cocoa content, and you're not, you know,
and you can
sugars.
You take that as an opportunity to practice that self-control. It's like you can actually witness yourself. You can observe yourself, the way you're thinking when you look at that chocolate and you're like, I want to have more. I want to have more. But then you exercise restraint, and, like, you know, well done. Mindset 101. You're exercising restraint, you know? So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Listen, Shea, thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. So you might let people know where they'll find you.
Well, I've only got my Instagram, so it's Shea Fox, and that's my Instagram.
Shea Fox. Okay, cool. I'll make sure I put the Instagram both on the audio and the video. Thank you very much for the conversation, Shea.
Thank you, Roy.
So that's all for the Awakening Podcast. You'll find all our episodes on awakeningpodcast.org. As mentioned, we're on BitChute and YouTube. Find the links to the podcast description and my 4 other podcasts along with the coaching bio.link/podcaster. Sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, share with your friends. Until next week, take care.